Bonjour. It's Tristan Lombard, Director of Community at Provar, and I am here with a very special guest, y'all, for our episode of Taste Automation. I'm here with Cyril, who is our Director of Solution Engineering at Provar, and he is also a unlicensed sommelier of Salesforce Test Automation.
That's right. Bonjour.
Now, if you're looking for a crash course in finding the perfect Salesforce Test Automation solution, and/or you just love wine, be sure to stay with us for some sips, tips, and, well, wine. All right, sommelier, we have some good tips. Are you ready to dive into this?
I am indeed.
Oh. Oui.
Oui. Allons-y.
So, we're going to talk about 3 tips to help you find the Salesforce Test Automation solution that works best for you. And we're going to pair that with some great findings around wine. Number 1, we're going to talk about gathering cross-functional business requirements. Number 2, we're going to remind y'all that free isn't always free. And number 3, do your research, y'all, and don't try to be the smartest person in the room. I learned from myself. Ask the experts. So let's unpack this a little bit more, sommelier. Gathering cross-functional business requirements, what tips or sips do you have for our audience?
Great question. So when it comes to gathering cross-functional business requirements, it's very much the same process, whether you're picking a wine or test automation solution or any software for that matter. So how do you make the decision? First step is look at the different stakeholders. When you're buying wine, who is going to enjoy the wine with you? Is it going to be your family, your friends? What do they like? Do they like rosé, champagne, red wine, white wine?
You had me at rosé, sommelier.
Okay, perfect. I'm more of a red wine person, but you know.
We can tell.
That's exactly.
It's your winery.
That is right. So again, everybody has different tastes, different goals when it comes to wine or software. Let's take an example, for instance. Let's say you're having red meat. You're probably going to go with the red wine, right? Where if we were to have fish, we'd go with the white wine, which makes sense. And then when it comes to red wine, for red meat, for instance, do you want to go full body or are you looking for something lighter? Let's say full body, you'll probably go with something like a Cabernet. So again, let's take that back to a test automation solution. How does that work? Again, exact same process. Who are the different stakeholders? Sales, finance, IT, and so on. What are they trying to achieve? What are their goals? Maybe they want to automate the lead to cash process.
We love some cash.
We do indeed. Where they want to automate all the way from the website to Salesforce Sales Cloud, maybe CPQ, SAP, and so on. If that's the case, Provar would be a great pairing.
Wow, sommelier, that was amazing. And y'all, I just want to say as well, remember, and you're talking to your girl over here, free is not always free, okay? And sommelier, in your beautiful palatial winery, vintages, let's talk a little bit though about Salesforce Test Automation, and let's talk a little bit about the, dare I, the maintenance hangover of it all.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a few things we need to take into consideration. Free or cheap with wine, because there's no such thing as free wine, is not really free. You have to look into the value you're getting out of wine or a test automation solution, and the headache it's going to cause as well. So let's start with cheap wine first. You probably won't enjoy it as much as a good wine. You might actually get sick, have a headache the next day. You might even have to go to the doctor, take some medicine. And really, it doesn't provide the positive experience or joy you were expecting in the first place.
And I love that, sommelier, but it does in the short term, right? It does in the short term when you see something and you're so excited about it and you jump into it. It's the long term.
The long run.
It's the cost. It's the long run. It's the maintenance hangover.
Exactly. And so the same thing with cheap or free software, because some of them are free. Again, look at the value you're getting out of it. And you mentioned maintenance hangover earlier. Think about the maintenance of it and really the total cost of ownership. Because yes, maybe the licenses are free or there's no licenses, but then you need to hire more expensive resources, potentially more resources. And you get into what we call the rework spiral, where you spend more time maintaining and fixing your tests than actually running your tests. That can be a nightmare over time.
And I want to echo off of that and shout out to our open source community. We love you so much. We also want to acknowledge that this is a competitive job market, y'all. who's gonna maintain that backlog? The word of the day is technical debt.
That's right.
We're not doing that today over here. We're not doing that. So I think it's really, really important to plan for that for all of you all that are considering a Salesforce test automation solution that not only works for you and your immediate needs, but it's also scalable, y'all.
Exactly. So now let's focus on the positive and the good wine and good software. Once again, with good wine, you're probably going to have a much better experience. It's going to improve your food, the meal you're having. You're going to have long-lasting memories with your friends, your family, and you won't feel sick the next day. No more headaches.
Not a maintenance hangover. I can't do it one more time.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And again, the same way with good software, it will allow you to deliver better results. It will get your team excited. You know, you talked about resources earlier and how it's hard to hire and get people excited, right? It's going to limit attrition on the team. And you'll be able to do more with less, really. Release faster. You won't get any more headaches or hangovers, right?
And you know, Sommelier, since we're in your stunning winery with so many vintage barrels, I want to come to point number 3 that we're going to be talking about today, y'all. Whether it's a vintage varietal, whether you're trying to find something to engage your automation, olfactory, epithelium, we're going to talk today about number 3 to help you find the Salesforce test automation solution that meets not just your business requirements, but helps you scale your teams. Do your research. And don't try to be the smartest person in the room. One of 8 kids here. Already tried. Ask the experts, y'all. And that's why in this episode of Taste Automation, we are asking the expert and our Salesforce sommelier, Cyril. Cyril, what advice do you have for those leaders out there that are considering a new Salesforce test automation solution and don't want to be the smartest person in the room? How do they go about doing their research?
So like you said, do your research. There's many ways you can do it. You can go online, you can ask, and let's start with wine first. You can go online, you can ask your friends, you can ask an expert, a sommelier, to make sure you make the best choice possible, right? Let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years ago, I went to La Tour d'Argent, which is a very good restaurant in Paris. And that created a long-lasting memory for me, which I mentioned earlier. La Tour d'Argent has the biggest wine cellar in the world. They have almost 500,000 bottles. The wine list is 400 pages. So I remember being there, sitting at the table, the sommelier came, put the wine list on the table, and asked me if I needed help, which obviously I needed.
Always ask for help.
Which I did. So I asked the sommelier, what would you recommend? He asked me what I was into from a wine perspective. I said I like red wines, but lighter, like a Pinot Noir, because I was going to have duck that day. And I had he recommended a 1997 Pernod Vergelès, and that was one of the best wines I've ever had. And he paired perfectly with the duck.
And is that duck now working for you and your team?
It is.
Oh, I love that because you ate it.
Yeah.
And the bugs. Yeah. And that's what we can also do for y'all too. I know.
That's
I
right.
know.
That's right. That's right. And again, same principle when it comes to test automation. Do your research, obviously online research. Ask your team, ask your peers. If you have peers at other companies that are of the same roles as you, ask them, especially if they're happy with the solutions they're currently using. Hopefully it's Provar. Check reviews on sites such as G2 Crowd. And talk to analysts too. Go talk to Forrester, talk to Gartner, and most importantly, ask for references. When you talk to companies like Provar, ask them, do you have customers in the same industry as ours? Do you have people I can talk to? Ask that question. That's really where you're going to get the most out of these conversations.
I will echo that. Y'all, this is something that I always believe in when you're trying to find a Salesforce test automation solution that works for you or any tool out there, y'all. I've always been community first. Despite my palatial background with my sommelier, you always want to ask leaders that are using the products that work for you. And we are so happy to connect you with those people. We want to make sure that you are connected with the right people so you get the solutions and the results that you deserve to bring back to your key stakeholders.
Yeah, one thing I would add is we realize that it's overwhelming whether you're selecting a wine out of 500,000 options was selecting a test automation solution. Luckily, there's not as many, but there's still dozens out there. So how do you pick the right one, the one that's going to work for you?
And y'all, this was such a fabulous, if I do say so myself. How do you say fabulous in French?
Fabuleux.
Sometimes it really is that simple.
It is.
Whether it's French or whether it is finding the right Salesforce test automation solution that works for you, make sure that in this episode of Taste Automation, you found some inspiration to bring back to you and your global teams to help you on-ramp. And just remember, we have free VIP consultations with Salesforce continuous testing experts like our sommelier over here to help you up-level and scale your Salesforce test automation portfolio. We'll see you in the vineyard.
Cheers. Santé.
Santé, you stay.